agenda is declare and set Mr. O'Connor.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome Mr. Harvey, Principal Sinclair Elementary School to the podium.
Good evening, President Spencer, members of the County East Central School Board. We are honored to be here representing Sinclair Elementary this evening. This evening, we have some of our Sinclair choir and a few of our student council members who will be saying the prayer, the pledge, and performing a song dedicated to MLK, led by our fine arts teacher, Miss Eddie. We'll start with the pledge. Will you please stand? And now the prayer. Please bow your heads.
Lord God, we gather today as a community of students, teachers, board members, and families, united in our quest for knowledge and excellence. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we work together to shape the minds and hearts of young people. Bless our students with curiosity, creativity, and a love of learning. Bless our teachers with patience, compassion, and the ability to inspire. May both members be granted wisdom and discernment as they make decisions that impact our district. And may our families be strengthened by the love and support we provide to one another. We offer this prayer and gratitude for the gift of education and for the opportunity to serve one another. In Jesus' name, we pray, amen.
Sing about marching. Sing about Carrie.
job, students. So will the parents of these wonderful students please stand up and be recognized? Also, board members, we have some gifts for you guys, just another appreciation for everything that you do for us. So thank each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Well, I cannot believe the beautiful voices that we were just blessed to hear, so thank you one more time. For us tonight. The next item that we have is awards and recognitions. Mr. Chasana?
Yeah, Madam President, to our community, and you're aware, this is Board Member Appreciation Month across the state of Texas, and so we wanted to take just a few minutes this evening as a community to recognize our trustees for your service and our appreciation for such. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Barnes.
All right, good evening, President Presses and the members of the board. As you know, January is Board Recognition Month, and as a community, we would like to thank you for devoting your precious time to serve the students, faculty, and staff of East Central Independent School District. The theme, Leadership for Tomorrow's Texas, is a powerful reminder of the pivotal role our school board plays in shaping the next generation of leaders, innovators, and thinkers. ECISD school board members provide the essential oversight, strategic direction, and advocacy needed to ensure that our schools remain responsive to the needs of the community and prepared to meet the challenges of the future. Across Texas, school boards face complex challenges. They navigate budgetary constraints, respond to the shifts in educational technology, implement new curricula, and advocate for equitable opportunities for all students. Yet, despite the many challenges, our school board is unwavering in their commitment to providing the best possible education to each and every child. Through their tireless efforts, our school board members demonstrate that leadership is not just about making policy decisions. It's about being committed to the long-term success of every student, every educator, and the entire EC community. I am proud to share that our trustees have a combined total of 50 years invested in serving on the East Central School Board. Tonight, we want to recognize each of you for your generosity of time, leadership, service, and vision. Down in the front, we have a certificate of appreciation for each of you, along with the gift. So first, I'm going to call down President Monique Presses. Mrs. Presses is an EC graduate and has served on the board on 2 separate stints. She was first elected in 2003 and then elected again in 2018. She has served a total of 20 years as a trustee for ECISD. Her and her husband raised 2 EC graduates. Her roots run deep in ECISD, to say the least. She is a leader and business owner in the community who has a heart of gold and is full of love for children. She leads with humility, grace, selflessness, always putting the needs of others first. Thank you, Mrs. Moe, for the positive impact you have on the countless lives of students, staff, and community.
Thank you.
If you have any of the family or friends of Mrs. Presses in the audience, would you please stand so we can recognize you?
Hey, you went home. Oh, I'm a family.
Next, we have Secretary Dill Brazil. 2012 and has served for the last 12 years as a trustee. This passion for service led her to the healthcare profession where she retired as a nurse. Mrs. Brazil brings her nursing expertise to the table as she thoughtfully weighs in on decisions that impact the overall health and welfare of students and staff, especially in recent years. She has stated that she is drawn to serve in places with great and honorable need. Thank you, Mrs. Brazil, for being a steadfast advocate for the well-being of all children and for your willingness to serve the EC community. If we have any family or friends of Mrs. Brazil in the audience, would you please stand so you can be recognized? Next, we have Ginger Friesenhahn. Please come down. Mrs. Friesenhahn began her service to the ECISD community as a trustee in November of 2021. This E-Central graduate is a dedicated wife, mother, and lifelong community member. She is the mother of a recent EC graduate and has another daughter that will soon follow. Mrs. Friesenhahn has always been very active across the district, starting first as a volunteer for many years, serving on numerous committees, task forces, and award-winning PTAs. She speaks for all students and is a devoted advocate for our staff and community. She has tireless energy and deep commitment to the district and community as we strive to reach our ultimate goal, excellent student achievement. Thank you, Mrs. Friesenhahn, for the countless ways you continue to support ECISD students and staff. If we have any family or friends of Mrs. Friesenhahn in the audience, would you please stand so you can be recognized? Next, we have James Mulkey. Come on down. Mr. Mulkey, otherwise known as Coach, has served on the school board for the last 13 years since his election in 2011. A retired teacher and coach, football Hall of Famer, husband, father, and loving grandfather, has been a long-standing resident of the Lakeside community. As a retired teacher and coach, he brings a unique perspective to the board as a former educator. He is a strong proponent of extracurricular activities and the long-term benefits it brings to the lives of students. Coach can regularly be found at numerous athletic events supporting his Hornets to victory, whether it be on the field, court, or track. A frequent visitor to Sinclair Elementary School, Mr. Mulkey takes the time to warmly greet students and staff as they arrive at school, ensuring they are filled with hope and optimism to start their day. He is a strong advocate for athletics, administrators, teachers, and staff. Thank you, Coach, for your dedication and for continuously supporting ECISD's coaches, teachers, and administrators. If you have any family or friends of Mr. Mulkey in the audience, would you please stand so we can recognize you? And lastly, we have David Santos. Please come on down. Mr. David Santos, an EC graduate and huge Texas Longhorn fan, is our newest member to be elected to the school board. He has been married to his high school sweetheart for 31 years. Mr. Santos is a proud father of 2 EC graduates. As a sales engineer, he understands the importance of building strong relationships, integrity, and customer service. He loves to make others laugh and smile. Mr. Santos is known for his servant leadership and for his willingness to always lend someone a helping hand. Thank you, Mr. Santos, for the desire to serve ECISD in this important role as a trustee, and we look forward to witnessing your positive impact on this community. Friends of Mr. Santos in the audience, would you please stand and be recognized? Okay.
on behalf of myself and my colleagues, and we appreciate these awards so very much. It's an honor to serve here in this amazing community, in this amazing school district. It's an honor and both a pleasure. I can't say how much it means to myself and my colleagues to be able to serve you and these beautiful children. So at this time, the next item is on the agenda is public comments. So we're going to take a break because I know because some kiddos are probably have to get into bed, maybe do a little homework. So we're going to take about a 10-minute break and we'll be back at 6:57. Thank y'all so much for coming. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting back to order. The next item on the agenda is public comments. We do have one person signed up to speak, and that is Jacqueline Alejandro. Hi, I just wanted to share with you when addressing the presiding officer during public forum, speakers whose commentary must adhere to the following. Speakers signed up to speak about topics not on the agenda will be allowed to speak first. Speakers signed up to speak about the agenda items will be grouped second, and according to the agenda. Speakers may get up to 5 minutes, tonight will be 3, depending on the number of people. All comments shall be addressed to the presiding officer. Speakers may not give their allotted time to someone else. Individuals needing a translator will be granted twice the amount of time allotted to the English speakers. Everyone must model courtesy and respect. Speakers shall not employ profane or threatening language, nor shall they engage in any personal attacks. The expectation is that the message delivered by the speaker is done so in a constructive manner with a collaborative purpose. Speakers are expected to respect both the decorum of the public meeting and the authority of the board. The Board of Trustees request that derogatory or inflammatory statements and personal attacks on individuals be avoided. Caution should be exercised in publicly attacking specific individuals. This is not a forum for specific parent, student, or employee complaints. Such complaints should be handled through the appropriate board policy. Please contact the personnel office for information regarding filing your complaint. If you're unable to resolve your complaint through the grievance procedure, the board may hear it at a level 3. Employee complaints, board policy BGBA. Student or parent complaints, board policy FNG. Public complaints, board policy GF. If the comment is regarding a specific employee who is listed on the agenda, the comment must be allowed. In accordance with board policy BED local, the board shall not deliberate or respond to any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. Speakers who have signed up to speak on a specific agenda item must focus their own comments on the posted agenda item. Thank you very much for listening to that. You're welcome to go ahead.
Thank you. Nice meeting you. So I had an incident in the school last month. Unfortunately, my daughter was sick and I'm serious. Wednesday, she let me know. Thursday, when it happened, I tried either contact the principal, assistant principal, or anybody who could assist me. The few cameras of the incident. I was the person who read the office let me know that nobody was available. They told me how like, my child was choked on campus. Like, what is the policy? I was like, I would like to wish to speak to somebody. She said, no, nobody's available. And she's like, we should take it to the teacher, and she thinks it's important for us to know, she'll let us know. And she then she's like, just make comments like, well, why can your daughter didn't know if it actually happened, she would have told me to a doctor. My daughter's speech delays issues, she is very shy. So she likes no, trusted a doctor. So okay, I left, I sent an email, it was never responded. That was on Thursday, Friday, I went back again, wishing to speak with somebody, I went first in the morning, then drop off, I understand this drop off, we exactly. I explained what doctor, I was ready to like wait as much as possible, same thing happened again, nobody was available. Obviously, like parent, I'm very concerned, but my small third grader being choked and cafeteria, right? So after trying to speak with somebody, nobody said anything. So
for the record, you're not to respond.
No, I understand.
Okay,
What I'm trying to say is there policies and procedures in place when incidents like this happen, and when the faculty does not have the time of the day, who would I need to reach out? Or where can I find this information online? Because I tried finding it online, I was not able to.
It should be in our policies and procedures, but I will have someone follow up with you. Mr. Tiscano will do that and make sure that you know where to look next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is trustee reports, item 6.1, updates regarding ECISD district and community activities.
Yes, so, I think it was the day after the last board meeting, we had a coalition Christmas party with Mr. Bobby Blunt. And he, announced there that he's starting a competition to follow along with the, elementary schools for the NCAA Final Four reading competition. And so it kicked off Monday, and we have to track our minutes reading to specifically third graders. It could be anybody, but specifically we want to target third graders. So, I went to Harmony on Tuesday and Highland Forest on Wednesday to read, to some third graders. It was so much fun and very engaging. Both campuses had a map ready for me and a list of, classrooms that I was to visit. So thank you for accommodating me. I'm gonna try to hit all of them before this competition is over. So I appreciate that, and everything that you guys are doing with them is amazing. They were super respectful and great manners. I love that. So, thank you for that. So that kicked off Monday. So, and then tomorrow, I just wanted to say that I am a judge for the SUSO, the Speak Up, Speak Out Civics Fair competition for our CAS students. And, it's I joined like as soon as I got on board, so I've been doing it for a while, and I absolutely love it. These kids are amazing, very smart, their thought process with these problems and their solutions are excellent, like top notch, so I really appreciate being involved with that. And that's tomorrow. So I'm gonna be posting everything online, soon, so that's all I have.
So I was able to go to the, Army, Navy football game, it's Navy football game, and then the, Alamo, Bolero game where our players were there, Coach Hub was there, and, that was something else. We were right on the railing. I've never sat that close to a football field in my entire life. So it was really exciting, and it was really a proud moment to see the names of our students on the back of their jerseys, sitting there and standing there and playing and whatnot. So that was super exciting. And then I was able to hook up with Dr. Coleman the other night, and went by and learned about what's some good stuff that's coming up with P-TECH. And so I attended that meeting, and that's it. It's off and running beginning of the year.
Me, yes, getting a lot of my governance procedures in place and completed. My certification's over to Cambry. I'm sure she's probably sick of me sending emails. Please verify you got this. I just like to be sure everything's done and accounted for. As part of getting it out in the community, I actually am very proud that I also joined Ginger in that reading contest. And today I was out over at the Con Valley and said I swore I was wearing the shirt. But hey, I'm going to be making my rounds. This meeting was very courteous, and I enjoyed, had a wonderful time reading The Big Bad Wolf to two different groups, and I had to show my coaching side a few times for a couple of kids that weren't getting a little out of line. So I snapped my fingers and got my point across. But that to be said, here's some pictures. As you can see me reading on the right. I'll get to the one on the left in a minute. But the one on the right is me kind of sweating it out there, huffing and puffing. I like to get a bit animated, as Ms. Burns might be able to tell you down here. like to get involved. So I was huffing and puffing and sweating. Actually, I had to take my jacket off, so I was sweating. This is my second group, so I had an outstanding time. The STEM program that they have out there is absolutely, truly amazing. And unless I heard incorrectly, today was the day one start of the robotics part, which was amazing. So there was a bunch of kids. There's a picture, if that's not the only picture, there may be another one. That was me at the end. They were supposed to send one. Anyways, they were working with some robotics and trying to figure out movements and get some playtime with it before they start coding. Next is going to be coding. I'm like, third grade? You know what I was doing in third grade? I sure as heck wasn't doing that way back when. But had a wonderful time. They're doing great things out there. So I will be visiting your campus again, ma'am, and making my rounds of the district as I promised. To the left there, my daughter had taken a picture of me, and I was trying to make a public comment, but apparently got photobombed. And it got recorded, so I had to be sure to put that up. Nice to know that we've got the superintendent with such high spirits. So I like to have the last laugh, so more to come on that. So, but anyways, that's what I've been doing this week. So next week I'll be visiting Harmony. In fact, visiting, talking to the staff and the kids out there.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to go anywhere. Because my BFF said I was too heavy to keep dragging around. I didn't go over.
I got it next week.
Better not say that too loud, she'll be after you. You're gonna feel like you're
I
coming.
already got it next week.
Okay, well, I did get a chance to go to a webinar, and I know many of you got this toolkit for the advocacy in your packet last time. But I would encourage you to take a few minutes to look at it. It is quite a thick little book. But the webinar that I went to help to let us see how important this is, and even just maybe change your perspective of what advocacy really is. And I think we probably have a little general idea of what that means. You know, you're out for something, you're promoting something, you're supporting something, or whatever. But this has 7 steps, and it takes you through the steps. But not only that, it gives you a wealth of information in the book. So the webinar wasn't very long, but the book is. And so book is fairly detailed. And so I'm going to encourage my fellow trustees to maybe we could look at this, and at some point maybe even Ginger could give a Region 20 and put you on the spot in front of God and everybody. But maybe we could come together and do some, work through that with our kind of a team activity to see, because I think more than anything, and politics aside, this is advocacy where we can all come together and be able to promote public education. And so it gives you a lot of tips and all of that. So I'm going to encourage you. I was very excited. There were about 88 of us from across, I guess, the county or wherever, on the webinar. So I'm very excited for us to look at that, and maybe we can work together with that to see things that help our community as well as our, which helps, in turn helps us as well. Absolutely.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is superintendent reports. Item 7.1, board goals update.
Yes, trustees, you have a copy of the slide deck that Jonathan and Amanda will be presenting this evening in your miscellaneous packet. If you want to follow along that way, or if you just follow along the model as well. So,
Madam President, Mrs. Scott, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to take us through a little bit of data today. I was thinking about when I was in school years ago, and when I first started writing papers, I remember thinking, you want me to write a 2-page paper, and how that was so big, and then you start writing papers, and you get to the point where you're like, you want me to write that paper and only put it in 5 pages, how am I going to make it fit? We have so much data I can talk all night with you, and so I'm trying to keep it pared down and represent lots of data from lots of different people. So hopefully I can do justice for you and give you a little overview of some highlights. And the last slide, as with prior months, will have all the data where you can see every assessment from every grade level and every campus summarized on each sheet with some notes. We're going to dive right into attendance. What I want you to see here is that we're holding pretty steady. Usually you see a little bit of a dip on attendance as the year gets going. But year over year, which is the way I prefer to look at attendance, so like today compared to the same point in the year last year, how are we doing? And almost every campus is higher than where they were. I'll show you that chart showing every campus where we're at. But almost every campus is higher today than when they were at the same time last year. There's that chart kind of showing over time. A couple highlights I want you to see are high schools with big gains. 0.5% is a really noticeable increase. So to be up 2.7% in CAS is really a remarkable increase. And then when you're as big as East Central High School with 3,000 something students, 1.3% increase is really massive. Oak Ridge and then Pecan Valley also having massive gains. And then we've been tracking Sinclair. They were down a bit. They made some gains. They just got even in that last update. And then this last one is slipping a little bit. And so I want to maybe give you some notes on that. What I wanted just to call attention to is we've seen some of those illnesses going around right now. That flu seems to have taken toll there in that period a little bit, causing partisan players to get. But Mr. Harvey and the team have some celebrations scheduled and some things that they think will get kids excited and going again. We're hoping that next month we'll see a bounce back up to even. And we talked previously about leveraging talking points with the community. That's something that we're really trying to focus on, communication with families, keeping everybody aligned, understanding the importance of coming to school and how we know that when we get our kids in with our great teachers, that we move the needle a lot faster for our kids. Going to jump over to attendance. Discipline. Our goal was to get down to 70% of the referrals from the prior year. And we've been tracking that where we were real close to the goal, a little bit ahead of it, 67, 68%. So compared to the same time last year, we're at 71%. So we're just barely missing the goal, on track to miss the goal right now. But we're right in there with an impressive gain. I want to show you the breakdown here. Again, I want you to notice our high schools. Look at CAS with a huge improvement there. At only 40% of what they had the same time last year. High school, we know that that early focus we talked about in October meeting, that we thought that there's a little bit of a spike around some of those new rules, just tightening up with e-hall pass and then with cell phones. That there were some things that kind of spiked a little bit there. We were thinking it would come back down. You can see like November, December, it's trending down, where if they keep trending down, they're going to get to the goal. And obviously, with as big as East Central High School is, that's a big part of the progress we're making. You can see that every campus has improved on the outcomes. They're all under 100% right now. And then I want to just highlight like Harmony, Oak Crest, Pecan Valley for massive gains. And then kind of on this slide and the next one, I wanted to just kind of zoom in on the Salado. And part of what I want you to see here is that sometimes with the data, like if you just see the number, I don't want to say the data will lie to you, but like it can be misleading. Can I say it that way? Misleading. And so when you look at Salado, you say, hey, they went from 29 to 72. What happened? And so I want to zoom in with you on that. So there's like a spike, and I'm going to say in quotes a spike. Their spike was 7 incidents total for the month. 7 incidents. So the thing is, for the entire year, they've had 13 incidents. 13 incidents is one of the lowest numbers overall. So when you get really small numbers of incidents, a little bit of a change like that, like so 7 causes it to look like a big percent change. So it's not that they're massively far off. It's like just a few incidents can change it when you have really small numbers, if that makes sense as a percent. And so those small numbers can be a little misleading sometimes. Salado is actually one of the lowest numbers in the district. Across the district after the holidays, Sarah Pena, our coordinator of social emotional, she leads the district behavior team. And working with that team, they work with all the campuses after major holidays like Christmas, they do a reset with behavior. So that when kids come back, you know, after the holidays, they're used to being on their own and doing their thing, making sure that we're real clear, reinforcing those rules, trying to make sure that we get off to a great start. And so we're hearing lots of success stories around that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was over at Legacy. We're going to talk late, one of the last things I'm going to talk about some of the plans we have at Legacy we're really excited about. But one of those pieces is around discipline behavior, so I wanted to just give a plug. We've got a couple groups where we're trialing out something where we're using Google Meet, and so the teacher is going to have it on all the time where they're being recorded, where you can see and hear what they're doing in the lesson. And so what we're doing is if a kid is having trouble in class, we have to remove them. They get to go to a different room and they get to have a headset on and they get to keep learning from the same teacher with the same lesson. That way, we're trying to capture every moment, every opportunity to maximize learning. And so there's a couple groups, we're going to talk later about 7th grade math and 6th grade reading at Legacy that are trying out this a little bit different approach that we think, we've heard some other peer districts trying similar things. They said that even if a kid was on a field trip or had to go to the doctor in this class, that they could optionally come in and still catch the lesson. So some of those things maybe we learned during COVID where we had to do remote, to apply it in a little different context. Just trying to get every opportunity we can for our kids to get in front of our teachers and get those opportunities to maximize learning. Go to Dr. Holman's going to talk a little bit about CCMR for us.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me talk to you guys about our college curriculum and readiness goals. We have on the chart up here for you showing some increases, and we're really proud of the gains that our students and our staff are making. Last year, it's time to put this in context for you. We were still hovering just above 20% for our total CCMR accountability rate at East Central High School. And we are really happy to see that they're seeing some significant growth there, sitting at 50% right now. We break that down, just as a reminder, into two different buckets, well really three, but college and then career and military. And so our students who earn an industry-based certification at this point in time, or students who have documentation that they are enlisting in the military, that is roughly 6% of our student population right now, they're seniors. And then we've got around 47% of our students that are college ready, meaning they're meeting the indicators to go directly to college after they graduate from high school. So just to remind you, our goal for that is 88% of our students that graduate in the class of 2025 will meet one or more of the indicators. And then a really bright spot that we're very proud of is Cassidy High School had a huge push right before the holiday break, and they're currently at 100% of their graduating class this year is meeting the indicators. So we're really excited for them, and kudos to the staff and their team for the work that they've been doing to get to that point. Just a few of the next steps that we're continuing to take to ensure that we reach that 88%. We have around 500 students that will be taking an industry-based certification exam between now and the end of this semester. So we're really looking forward to getting those results and to see how our students fare on those assessments. We have worked really closely with the leadership team at East Central High School to kind of recalibrate their hive time. And so we are targeting college readiness for specific seniors that are really close to getting over that hump so that they can get that point and they can move on and not have to worry about that. We are working with our junior class right now on a test preparation for ACT. All of our juniors will take the ACT assessment during school on March 4th. And so we're putting them through some assessment support so that they are able to do very well on that assessment hopefully this year. And then we also have our 9th and 10th graders that are not receiving accelerated instruction for STAR, receiving TSI assessment preparation during that high time as well. And then we just continue to evaluate the progress of our students almost daily. My team is evaluating that. And then we make those adjustments as needed to ensure that our students are making the progress that we need.
Can you just clarify what TSI is for?
Yes, absolutely. TSI is the Texas Success Initiative. It is the college entrance exam, so students can become college ready through either taking the ACT assessment, the SAT assessment, the TSI assessment, or the college prep or Texas Qualifying Platform.
I've got a question now on the ACT school day. Is that just for East Central? Because generally, years past, decades past, you have to sign up at various places around the area and school on certain days. Is that specifically for?
It is a nationwide initiative, but it's a newer initiative, because obviously signing up and coming to school on a weekend was just not feasible for a lot of students across the country. And so several years ago, they started there's an SAT and an ACT school day initiative, and so we offer the ACT school day here. Yes, sir.
Maybe some of the success stories going. We've been tracking some of the early literacy, and I grabbed the first grade literacy as just one example. And again, all those are linked where you can see slides like this. So you can read it on the left. It says, hey, first grade. You can see the campuses and then the trend line and how it's going. Early in the year, we gave that beginning of the year screening where it's like tests that people all over the country take and can kind of see how they're doing. And then in the middle, we gave our own assessment. And then last time we gave a screener and we said, hey, as you're looking at the results, we saw some things in there and we were similar in some spots. We saw some movement in some spots. And then we thought we were starting to see some progress. And then the most recent assessments were noticeably up. And so first grade seems to be trending up in a good way. And then compared like historically, like our first grade data, we're seeing historically low numbers, so we're seeing some real progress at both kinder and first grade on our literacy scores, and it's every campus across the district. Similarly, we saw some wins at a number of fifth grade literacy at campuses and third grade. We saw third grade math almost across the district. Almost every campus is noticeably up. We saw Pecan Valley, their early grades in math, so kinder and first grade were up as well. And so those were some of the many celebrations we saw, but some hotter spots. The second grade literacy didn't seem to move up as much as those early grades, so we're still working on second grade literacy. That secondary math still continues to be something we're paying attention to. In particular, it's that seventh grade math 2. So we call the sixth grade math 1, seventh grade math 2, and then eighth grade, you remember they take the algebra test across the district. So the downside was that it's still not where we want it to be, but it is going up. So the trend, when you look at, you'll see that the trend is up for that seventh grade group, but it's still not where we want it to be for the year. And then first and second grade math are ones that we're keeping an eye on. Overall, we're not where we want to be on our achievement currently. We're not on track to meet our overall goal for achievement currently. Now our literacy growth was down a little bit for the year compared to the same time last year. Well, we started higher. So we started the year higher. So even though we didn't gain as much, if you look at our literacy across the board right now, it is higher than it was the same time last year. And so it's not where we want to be yet, but it is still currently higher. And then our math growth is really pretty comparable overall to where we were last year. But our growth was not what we were aiming for. And so we've been working on differentiated plans for every campus. So we're trying to respond with some urgency to say, hey, look, we see some wins and some celebrations in different spots, but system-wide, we still have some work to do there. And so, by differentiated plans, we try to look by campus, by grade level, by teacher, get really clear in the same way and say, oh, these are spots where we need to do something different, and this is what we need to do different there. And so, one of those plans we spent a little bit more time on, and so the legacy plan was one that we responded with a little bit more urgency, can we say it that way? We really wanted to respond to that, and that's the one I wanted to spend a little bit longer talking about today. And so I'm just gonna pull out some of the highlights on what we're, some of the things we're talking about with legacy. So, we had some positions, so we had two, English language arts classes where, the teacher's been out for a longer period of time, and so not having access to an amazing teacher all the time, we saw that those results were not what we wanted, and so we've done some reorganization. We found ways to get those classes covered. We have a math teacher going on maternity leave, and so in anticipation of that, we've got a plan to do something similar. So we didn't want to leave it up to chance where they might have a long-term sub or somebody who's not going to move the needle as quickly. And so we're trying to make sure that we get our great teachers in front of our kids. One of the big moves, we had a class a few years ago we called learning strategies, and so we're using that name for this course. And so what I want you to know about learning strategies is that we targeted 200 students. So there's 200 kids at Legacy. They're in 6th and 7th grade. They're in 7th grade math. So that's the one that we've been tracking all year, saying this is our lowest point in our achievement. Right? And so we're trying to change that for Legacy. So 7th grade math and 6th grade ELAW are the ones that we're targeting. And so each day, if the kid doesn't master the lesson from that day, they get an immediate reteach that same day. And so we assess them, see what's going on, and then they get a period where they're getting complete. We got a highly impactful teacher with that kid immediately responding to the need. And if they master it, then they don't get that reteach, they get an extension activity, something a little bit more open, a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting, to try to give them a little bit of incentive. And those are the classes where we're trying out that Google Meet link. And so in the 7th grade math and 6th grade ELAR across Legacy, they've got Google Meet going. So that way we can pop in anytime to see how it's going. And then also if a kid for some reason can't be in the room, or we have to remove them for something like discipline, they can continue to learn and still get the full lesson and full experience. Whereas in the past, you can imagine getting removed, you might get the materials, but it's not the same as hearing from the teacher. A couple more things. We have a period in the day called WIN, so it's what I need. It's a little bit like an advisory period, but it's really about like responding to every kid. So every kid who needs additional tutoring or help gets a targeted time in our schedule for all kids throughout East Central. And so we're revamping some of the things that we're doing with the WIN period. We actually just had a meeting after school today to pitch some of the ideas that we're doing with Legacy. So we're about to kind of finalize that and get the final supplies. We're launching that at the beginning of February. Some of the kind of revamping the way that we're tackling that WIN period. And then kind of a third stage. So we're starting learning strategies. We tested that out actually this week. The full launch is Tuesday next week. 2 weeks later, after the day-to-day, we'll launch the new WIN period, and then we'll follow that up pretty quickly with refining our tutoring. So we've got targeted lists by grade level, trying to get the exact group of kids. So we've got by name the exact kids, where we can move that needle quickly, and help get those kids what they need after school and tutoring by 6th, 7th, and 8th grade reading math on Legacy. Again, I could talk for an hour about all the pieces of it, but I wanted to give you guys some of the highlights of some of the biggest pieces. I'm just going to take a quick peek at my notes and see if I'm missing anything else. I want to highlight a couple other quick things. From the Legacy plan. It's on the next page here. We did up the frequency of visits to classes, and so we've been trying to really get targeted about what we're doing in those visits, making sure that, so we're doing a little bit more training, a little bit more, our intent is like with the kids, getting real specific with what the kids are gonna get, getting really specific with, hey, this is the next move for the teacher to make, the next step in their instruction and their delivery and the learning going on in the classroom, so we're getting real targeted with that. And then we have a weekly core team, so Mr. McKay, Joette Barnes, Jennifer Casper, our director of CNI, myself, and a few others. We get together every Friday. We're getting together over at Legacy, and we're reviewing the data on each of these groups, seeing how it's going. We're going in classrooms to go visit and checking up on kind of each of these things. Our intent is to deploy and be very quick to see exactly where we're at and exactly what changes need to be made so that we can make that impact this spring for Legacy. And then the last thing I wanted to just feature with them was throughout the district, we do like a weekly rehearsal of a key lesson. So most groups have they call it lesson rehearsal, where they go through and kind of practice it, and so they pick something challenging. For this group over at Legacy, that 7th grade math and 6th grade ELAR, we're doing that daily. So we did a little bit of creative changes to the schedule to get up some time. And during that time, every day, we're gonna look exactly what they're teaching. So the day before they teach it, they can kind of practice it and kind of get really, like, we're trying to make sure that the lesson delivery goes from good to ensuring it's really great, solid every single day. And so we're trying a little bit different ideas, getting a little bit more aggressive, trying to make sure that we have all of our best ideas in play here to make sure we move a little quicker for Legacy. And we're looking at what possibilities we can do, again, for differentiated plans for everybody throughout the district. My last slide is just those detailed links. So if you click on any of those, so if you click on elementary literacy, you can go by grade level and see every campus and every assessment for each of those. What questions can I answer?
Let's go back to that long-term stuff that you,
Yes, sir.
at Legacy, when you, a math teacher says going out, you don't want to replace it with a long-term stuff. So you're gonna replace that class with a certified math teacher?
Yes, sir.
So how do you go about that? Do they apply for that position, or how do you, you canvass to get a certified math? There's either retired math teachers or math teachers that's coming from within the district.
Yes, sir. With somebody from within the district that we have in the, so some of these we're tweaking roles or opportunities. Can I give an example using ELAR as one thing we're doing? And if you want me, I can talk more about the math one. With ELAR, we have a teacher who is highly.
I just want to know who's coming from the class.
For the math one?
Right, you said someone in the district
Yes,
that's
sir.
going to come to that class. Okay, when you remove those students from that class, for behavior reasons, where are they going?
Yes, sir.
Where you taking them to?
Yes, sir. We have a behavior place on campus, like a behavior room that they would go to, and we'll have the headphones and things in that room for them to.
Who's going to teach that?
We have a person in that room.
A certified teacher?
No, sir. I don't believe we do have this. I think it's a pair that's in the room, which is why they have the headphones to hear their certified teacher in the classroom.
From the class?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so they're going to get the lesson, but in another environment?
Yes, sir. It's another environment. So we don't want them to have their master
Yeah,
teacher.
now I understand that. You said you're going to monitor the teachers. Are you monitoring what they're teaching, or are you monitoring the behavior of the classroom? Did you mention that? You say that, I misunderstood?
No, sir. Yeah, it's just an opportunity just to be able to see. We want to explore every avenue to make sure that we have the best for our kids all the time. That's the intent.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, it's not.
Spying.
No, they are. No, sir. That is not. Those are not. What we want to do is just go and see what's going on, maximize opportunities for learning, make sure that we're doing the best.
But how does that help teach morale if you spying on what they? You said that's spying. Basically spying.
Sorry.
Coach, I'll add some,
Okay, yeah.
I'll add some color to it. So, one of the things that we discovered is that there is a combination of sometimes teachers who are struggling to execute with confidence. And so part of what we want to do is be able to watch the teacher every day, not just every 3 or 4 weeks when we come through the visit. So we can provide just-in-time effective coaching. It's like watching a kid at a basketball practice. You wouldn't be effective if you just showed up every 3 weeks. You got to watch them every day. So that's the primary intention. The secondary intention is to ensure that what we say we're doing and what we're rehearsing is actually what's happening, not just in some of the classrooms where these 200 kids are, but in every single classroom. Whether there's a veteran teacher or a first-time teacher, we have to deliver reliable, quality instruction in every classroom, and so we need to monitor, inspect to ensure that that's happening again, so we can respond to support the teacher, or that we can respond to support the learning environment. Because one commitment that we've also made is that if you have a student or two in a classroom of 20 who are disrupting the class, you lose instructional minutes, right? So our commitment is to pull those kids out immediately, provide some behavioral support, but in the meantime, ensure that they still have access to that teacher that day providing instruction. They get assessed that day, and if they didn't master, as Jonathan mentioned earlier, they get a second teach from a different high-quality teacher that same day. So all in all, we're just tightening up everything we're doing to ensure that what we say we're doing is actually happening every minute, every day, in every classroom, with every teacher, for every kid. It's different than anything we've ever done before. But that's our best thinking to be disruptive in a positive way for the quality of execution and ultimately the learning outcomes. So it's a pilot. It's something that we're trying to see the effect.
Thank you so much.
I have a question. When you say revamp the win period for all students, what are they doing right now as far as the win period goes?
Yes, ma'am. We use some programs, like a computer-based program like Adventum, where it's a program that tries to look at where they're at and give them online lessons and things. And so we've looked at some other resources that we can deploy that we think might be even more effective during that time. There was a group of kids at Legacy this year that Carnegie, the people we do our math with, they asked us to be a partner, and they offered free tutoring for some of our kids. So we had a group of kids this fall that they were able to actually be online live with a tutor that Carnegie provided for free for us to try to give extra support. And so there's a variety of things where we try to look at what their needs are and match up an intervention for each kid. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this something that we're gonna offer at all campuses eventually?
Oh, which part?
The immediate help, with the kids that didn't, master their, daily assignment. I mentioned that it's immediate help.
Yes, ma'am.
That, is it something that we maybe could offer at all of our campuses?
We're excited about a lot of components in the plan, including that one, that I'm hopeful that we can continue to find ways to deploy that quickly with other places. One of the things, the more I do this, the more I'm sensitive to the fact that sometimes we have a great idea and we deploy it with everybody right away. And so being able to try it out and work out the kinks before we go system-wide. But we're very excited about the possibility that what if every kid could get very rapid responses and immediate interventions on things.
My little 8th grade, she has mentioned that before about struggling and having questions or whatever, and she didn't know exactly what she got on whatever assignment. So it would be very helpful to know right away. I know it's probably difficult for the teachers to do, but it is exciting to think about all of that.
Yeah, one of the things we've learned in this process is if we just rethink the way that we're utilizing staff and the way we've organized the day, and maybe even rethink some of the course offerings and the nature of the kind of staff we have, whether that's the type of electives and that we could repurpose the way we're using our staff within a more strategically designed school day, and be more responsive throughout the day for individual kids. And so this is a pilot that's kind of reflecting that. We're in the process of designing Valor Middle School, and using some of what we're learning here in the design of that school model. At the elementary level, while it doesn't look exactly like this, what all campuses are spending their time doing is holding what they're calling grow meetings, which is essentially taking a teacher, looking at their roster of students, categorizing where every individual student is currently at with their learning, and then being strategic as a team about what additional support does every single child need, when, how often, and what resource, and who's going to provide it, so that in the daily instruction for a self-contained elementary teacher, they are strategic and thoughtful about how they're going to provide additional support based on student need every single day. And then adjust that with a regular cadence. So in other words, they would deploy that plan, it wouldn't be just what they do the rest of the year. They're going to constantly revisit that based on how kids are responding. So we're becoming more strategic, more specific, and then more disciplined in our execution, maybe than ever before. And so a lot of these things are things that we've been doing, but maybe not with this much intentionality, with this much discipline to the execution. So all in a commitment to getting results that we've never gotten.
And when you say refining tutoring, I'm guessing that that's the same thing as the revamping of the Wind Theory policy. It's just looking for other ways that you can offer a more robust opportunity for tutoring.
It's the same spirit. We're trying to think about like bands and like who we're targeting and where, and so it's the same thinking. It'll end up, we may use some similar tools with different kids, or it may, that one's still, I met with that group yesterday morning, just kind of talking through the ideas. It's not quite ready to kind of fit in all the details on it yet.
Right.
We're getting close, but yes, ma'am, it's very much the same type of thinking.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is 7.2 personnel report, Mr. Descon.
Yeah, trustees, not much activity this month, but if you have any questions or want more information about any of the information, in the electronic personnel report for the month, let me know, we'll get that for you.
Next item is 7.3 bond construction update.
You have a one-page document front and back that has a copy of the slide deck Thomas will quickly review regarding this month's construction update, and or you can follow along on the monitor, Mr. Thomas.
Good evening. We're going to start off with Oak Crest renovations. Happy to say that we were able to open the parent loop, parent pickup loop that runs behind the campus over the Christmas break, as well as the new playground that the students were able to play on when they came back. You can see the majority of the brick work is done on the building. We're continuing to do stucco across that top section. The interior is moving along fairly well as well. Drywall's up, tiles up, and we're finishing up some of the utilities in the building itself. This next week, we should get the HVAC unit up and running, so then once that is run for a little bit, we start putting some of the interiors in the building. So we're making good progress. Valley Middle School, we're really making some progress there. Over there today, we got the second floor slab poured in that one wing that we've got out there towards the back of the building, which is in the cafeteria. That one's actually getting closed in. All the masonry work is done back there. We're proceeding and getting that building closed out. The roof is on. They're bringing the steel erection is coming across the front of the building, so you actually have almost 2 wings of steel built out there, so they'll have a third wing to go from there. Site work is still going on with the roads, the football field, as well as the utilities that are running across the campus there. But we feel good about the progress being made there as well. Finally, Victory. A lot of dirt is moving out there right now. So it's a large cut and fill, which means that we're cutting part of the hill down and filling the other lower section in so that we have kind of a flat surface for the site. They do have a construction trailer out there, and they are starting to lay out the building pad itself, what that looks like, and working on utilities. So we're making good progress out there in home. Beyond that, CTE, we believe we are in the final round of permitting for that, and hopefully we'll have an update next month on that one. And we're still moving forward towards permitting for the transportation facility as well. Do y'all have any questions?
Exciting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so the last item is 7.4, upcoming events. Mr. Sisona?
Yes, ma'am, in the January, February calendars, just a couple of things. I want to point out, there is a holiday this Monday, the 20th, as we're all aware, MLK, holiday for staff and students. In February, you'll notice a lot of uptick in activity is all spring activities, many of which have begun or will soon begin. So in your calendar in February, you see that it's very, very populated. But I want to point out a couple holidays, one being the 3rd of February, student holiday, and then on the 10th, which is a student holiday and a staff Development Day. On the 5th of February is the next college signing day at the high school. How many of you like to attend those? It's at 8 a.m. in the game gym. I believe at this point we've got already 5 or 6 athletes that are signing with the potential between now and then of more to be added. So if you want to mark your calendar, that's always a wonderful event with students celebrating with their family and classmates. Also, please mark your calendar for February 11th. I know that February is an active month for you guys as a board. The 20th is a regular board meeting. The 25th is a special board meeting, which is a mid-year review of superintendent and board goals. But on the 11th is a date in which you want to place a hold on for a special meeting in the event that the board makes the decision to call for a liaison election. If the board chooses to do so, that has to be done by the 14th. And so the next available opportunity is on the 11th. So the 11th will be scheduled at 5:30 at the Student Services Building, and that will be the only agenda item.
So if you could, yes, mark your calendars, is everybody okay with the 11th of February at 5:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it'll just be one item and that's it.
Student Services.
We'll have to let, Mr. Carrasco know.
And you also have all spring sports schedules. I had everybody had printed those out for you. You can stick them up on the refrigerator, so you have that.
Thank you so much. Okay, so the next section on the agenda is the action and result, section 8, and instead of waiting, we're going to move 8.3, the 2023-2024 school district audit up to the top. So that would be for Mr. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yes ma'am, as per board policy CFC, the board should have the district's fiscal accounts audited annually by a certified public accountant and file said copy of the audit with the Texas Education Agency. The 2023-24 fiscal audit has been completed by Coleman Horton and Company, and Derek Walker from Coleman Horton is here tonight to present the board with their report. Derek,
Doesn't matter which.
We're only whatever you prefer. We prefer
Oh, it's
come up here.
wherever you're most
Okay,
comfortable.
well, I'll just keep this practice on. So,
Yeah.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Brown, thank you for having me tonight. As mentioned, my name is Derek Walker, and I'm with Coleman Horton Company. We're a accounting auditing firm based out of Eagle Valley, and we're here to fulfill that annual requirement by the Texas Education Code about having an annual audit done on your financial statements. We are about a month later this year. We kind of started the audit a little bit later, but we were still dealing with the wrap-up of some COVID money, your special revenue funds. Also, there's some new implementations concerning leases and subscription-based information technology arrangements that so we're in our second year of it, but we're still kind of grasping the concept of it. Also, we got a lot of construction, as he just mentioned. So we're going through all the construction contracts, trying to make sure that all the retainage is booked, all the accounts payables are booked, and the assets are put in the correct account. So, we tried to get this audit out to y'all, at least a week earlier. You don't have the blue, or you guys did it on your board book, or when you're all on your own line. But we try to get this out to y'all a little bit early, just so that I don't spend a lot of time tonight presenting. If you'll have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Very informal, just stop me and ask. So, what I want to do tonight is just go over our opinion letters and some individual fund balances, some of your individual funds, and your budgetary comparison schedule. If y'all okay with that, just get started on that and go. Page 4.
So it's in your electronic agenda there. Click on the AAS 2023-2024.
And page 4 is our first opinion. We have 3 opinions in here. This opinion concerns auditing the district's financial statements for the period ending August 31st, 2024. We used auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. And we believe that the evidence that we were able to gather provide us an adequate basis to provide an opinion on the district's financial statements. We believe that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the operations of the district as of August 31st, 2024. This is also considered a clean or an unmodified opinion and is the highest level of assurance an auditor can give on a set of financial statements. There are 2 other opinion letters in the back. I don't necessarily want y'all to flip to it because it's way back there. But if the district receives federal funds, it's required to have an audit on its compliance and internal controls. And as mentioned in that report, there were no items that were required to report as far as deficiencies in internal controls or issues of compliance. Also an unmodified or clean audit report. The last report is on page 94. So if the district receives federal funds in excess of $750,000, they're required to have an audit on their major federal programs. The district had almost $17 million in federal funds, so this was a requirement to have this audit. And the district's child nutrition program was the major federal fund that was audited. Once again, as noted in the report, there were no instances of noncompliance or any other deficiencies in internal controls that were required to be reported. Also an unmodified or clean audit report. Second thing I'd like to review real quick is fund balance. If you'll flip to page 20 and 21, it's a 2-page financial statement because y'all have multiple major funds. This is the district's statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Some funds are reported separately and considered major funds because their total revenues, their total expenses or assets meet the threshold to be considered major. That first column is your general fund. Your general fund will always be major. This fund collects the bulk of the property tax revenues, also the bulk, receives the bulk of the state aid, but also has the majority of your expenses, your salaries, wages, your administration, etc. Transportation. As noted in the schedule, I'm just going to hit a couple of these top lines. So your total revenues is your 4 lines from the bottom, 4 lines from your top, I'm sorry. Total expenses is about 3/4 of the way down. And then we're going to go with the change in fund balance, which is 3 lines from the bottom, and then also your ending fund balance. So, for example, your general fund had revenues of $108 million. Go 3/4 of the way down, it had total expenses of $116 million. It also has some insurance proceeds, which kind of acts as a revenue, so it increases your fund balance. This was from some old storm-related damages, but they had other proceeds of $5.5 million. So the total decrease to your general fund balance was $1.8 million, the 3rd line from the bottom, leaving the general fund and ending fund balance at $27.5 million. Next up is your debt service fund. The debt service fund has a special levy that it collects property taxes on. That money must be used specifically to service the district's bonded debt. Looking at that fund, the total net change in fund balance at 3 lines from the bottom. Fund balance increased $2.2 million, leaving that with an ending fund balance of $12.4 million. As mentioned, that can only be used to service debt. You can't use that for your general operations. Capital project fund, we were just talking about. This fund accounts for your bonded. When you issue bonds, all that money goes in there. When you spend the money, all the money comes out. So this can be a little distorting from year to year when you're looking at your fund balance. Because if you issue $100 million in fund balance or $100 million in debt and don't spend any of it, your fund balance goes up $100 million. But when you spend that money next year, it goes down $100 million, if that makes sense. So looking at this, there was a change in fund balance, an increase of $53 million. leaving that capital project fund with $111 million. Bear in mind that considered issuing debt was $96 million, and then had capital expenses of about $50 million. Your other funds, the fourth column, this is where we lump all the funds that are non-major. Some examples would be your child nutrition program, your campus activity funds, your Title I, a lot of those miscellaneous funds get all lumped into that category. Those total funds had an aggregate decrease of $1.07 million, leaving it with an ending fund balance of $2.4 million. Last column is all these funds combined together. Total increase in fund balance was $52,556,099, leaving the district with an ending fund balance of $154,308,966. Just bear in mind, $111,000, that's from that capital project, which I'll price in the next couple of years. So, not on this schedule, but there is another schedule, I'm not gonna get y'all to turn to it. But in regards to one of your district internal service funds, your health insurance funds, the way it all wrapped up at the end of the year, it had a negative fund balance. A negative fund balance just needs to be rectified. We've spoken to your management about transferring funds from the general fund to correct that negative fund balance. And just keep a closer eye on it during the year, especially at the end of the year. The last schedule I'd like to go over is your budgetary comparison schedule. This is on page 62. And we're there. It'd be better if I did PowerPoint like that for those, would that help more as far as following along, or?
It's just there was a way you could type in the
Maybe in
these
the
are.
future, yeah, there's a little toolbar, it's hard to see, I know.
Oh, on the side right?
Yeah, it's a little small
Okay,
though,
yeah.
that's a little better.
Got it.
She just found it.
I did actually just.
Look good.
Or anything.
So this is the budgetary comparison schedule for your children. What it presents is that first column is your original budget. That's what's passed before the start of the year, before August 31st. We on the right schedule?
What page was it? I'm sorry.
I have page 62 on mine.
Yep, got it. Thank you.
Good, okay. That first column is your original budget that's passed before the start of the year. Then you have those budget amendments, those monthly budget amendments that you'll do during the year, which represents that second column, that's your final budgeted amounts. The third column is your actual dollar amounts, that's what was actually received and actually spent. The fourth column being the variance between your actual and your final budgeted amounts, and that's the column I want to look at. So looking at your total revenue, similar to the other schedule, we're looking at 4 lines from the top. Total revenues came in $3.7 million more than what was anticipated. State revenue was quite a bit more than what was anticipated, while your local and your federal revenue was less. Looking at your total expenses, about 3/4 of the way down, total expenses were $3,219,889, less than what was anticipated. So good job as far as staying within your budget constraints. There was one budget over expenditure in function 71. Function 71 is the function that services your debt, accounts for your payments as a principal, payments of interest, etc. This actually was the result of an audit adjustment that we had to do regarding one of those new lease standards. Not on this schedule, but also this is Schedule J2, there was also another budget over expenditure in your child nutrition program, which is your function 35. This was a result of having to book some year-end collections. But other than that, it was a clean audit. This is the worst we have to deal with. I think we went pretty good. Y'all any questions?
What was the last thing you just said, the portion that we were
Child nutrition.
showing the
Yeah,
nutrition
chop.
because of,
There was some commodities. Some of you guys gave commodities that needed to be looked at as an expense as opposed to an offset. Yes. Yes.
We bought some commodities to prepare for our end-of-day meal program. We were waiting a champ before, and we stood up our own end-of-day independent of the private vendor. So we had to staff up and we had to get commodities in advance of this year to prepare for that.
all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Safe travels back to you.
Yes, well, I appreciate it, Please have that certificate of war size.
Yes, sir.
We need to get that submitted to you guys. Thank you again.
Thank you
Have a
so
wonderful
much.
night.
Be safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else?
All right, Madam President, I recommend that the 2023-2024 audit of the district's fiscal accounts be approved by the board as prepared and presented by Cole Portman Company, LLP.
I have a recommendation by the superintendent. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion from Ms. Freeland, a second from Mr. Santos. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll go back up to the next item, which is 8.1. 8.1. An order authorizing the issuance of one or more series of the district's unlimited taxable building bonds in a maximum amount of $60 million, levying an ad valorem tax for the payment thereof, delegating the authority to district staff to approve and execute related documents and other matters in connection therewith. East Central ISD new money bond order PDF, to look at on your computer, sorry. Just in case you know where to look at, so that.
So Madam President, trustees, we have our financial advisor, Victor Corona, here with us tonight. We actually have two items that he has provided a plan for in the more miscellaneous packet. He will review the items in that plan, speaking to this $60 million bond sale, as well as item 8.2, which we'll handle afterwards. Subsequently, there is an opportunity for some refunding. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Joe.
Did you get the presentation of the screen? Put it on the screen as well, Victor?
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Honorable President, members of the board, Mr. Toscano, thank you for having me here. It's so wonderful to see you all again, and Happy New Year. And before I begin, just want to congratulate Mr. Santos for election win and welcome to the board. It's a fantastic board, and this is the community, so you know that already. But for the record, my name is Victor Quiroga. We have the honor of representing the district as a financial advisor. And so, as Mr. Toscano indicated, we're here to provide you an overview and a summary of the two bond-related action items that you're considering this evening. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you an overview of your existing debt that's outstanding, visit with you about two transactions that the administration would like you to consider allowing us to move forward with during this fiscal year. One is to borrow new money to start, completing projects, and then another one is a possible refinancing opportunity. So we'll just overview that very briefly. And the very last part would just be to give you a kind of the cliff notes about the action items that you're presenting tonight. I know Ms. Lauren Ferrero is here. She's with McCall Parks and Horton. She prepared the agenda language and the bond orders that you're considering this evening. So to begin, just very briefly, right now we have we have 8 bond issues outstanding, and the total principal amount outstanding is $261.3 million. All those bond issuances do have the best rating that you could get is AAA rating because of the state's permanent school fund guarantee and backing of that. And you can see there on the bottom graph, these are your annual principal and interest payments, and the color one is just, it signifies the individual issuance that you owe those monies on. And so moving forward,
The district, as you can see from the audit report, and congratulations on that, that's a wonderful audit report. The staff has been doing a wonderful job managing your finances conservatively, and you as a board have been doing a good job of being good, prudent stewards of taxpayer money. So that is reflected not just because of me, because I'm a little biased towards you, but that's reflected from independent rating agencies, Standard & Poor's and Moody's. The shaded one that's in the bottom, the AA minus and AA2, that's your true credit rating. If we had the state's support on those bonds, we would have to use your individual credit rating. We had to do that one time. And still got quality interest rates. So these are very high ratings and something you should be proud of as well. So that's the footing that we're starting with. Moving forward, I anticipate us having easy access to the bond market, finding enough bond investors, and more importantly, finding you a quality interest rate for your taxpayers. So just to provide a quick overview and an update regarding the November 2022 bond program. The voters allowed us to issue on behalf $240 million. We issued everything but $60 million, so the proposal is to move forward with the remaining bond authorization from that bond program. When the district approached its voters in 2022, you asked them to allow you to borrow this money that we have, cover these projects here, and the tax impact that was communicated by the district to the voters was a tax impact to cover this $240 million bond program of a little over 6 cents per 100 valuation. I'm happy to report that this is just the most recent estimate. We don't anticipate actually increasing the tax rate on the ISD side by the full 6 cents that we're contemplating. Right now we're looking at just using half of it to cover this bond program. So that's excellent news. It's not completely final. We have to first lock in the interest rate of this bond that we're going to sell and also get your certified values in late July. And at that point, we'll know exactly what the tax rate is. Our anticipation is going to be 3 cents or less. So just want to provide that update for you. And so the first transaction of the two, this is for $60 million. This would be to complete the November 2022 bond authorization. This is what we call a new money bond transaction. Like the previous bond, we're going to issue this debt over with a 30-year repayment term with a fixed interest rate. We anticipate using a competitive sale method where we bid it out, and whoever gives us the best interest rate will be awarded those bonds. Right now, we're planning on going into the bond market and locking in an interest rate for you February 12th, just here in the next few weeks, and then that'll provide those bond proceeds to be delivered to your construction fund, so your fund balance can grow a bit more in March 11th. And so right now, that's the current plan. All the documents have been prepared in order to achieve that timeline. The next transaction is with respect to a potential refinancing opportunity. Here we're looking at financing. Currently we're looking at a $13 million of outstanding principal that you could have an opportunity to refinance for interest cost savings. The agenda language that you have there has a higher amount. We want to provide ourselves the most flexibility possible so that if there's improvements in the bond market and the interest rates, we can maybe include even more than the contemplated $13 million that we've identified right now. This refinancing, all we're doing is just pursuing the refinancing for interest cost savings. We're not going to extend the term of the original debt payment. These bonds are scheduled to be paid off in 7 years if we don't touch them. But if we do refinance them, they're going to be paid off in 7 years. All we're going to do is switch a high interest rate for a low interest rate to achieve these savings. So we're not going to extend that debt. So this is just some charts demonstrating that. The plan to execute this refinancing would happen separately and apart from the $60 million new money bond transaction. Here, because of the restrictions of when we could actually refinance those bonds and take away from the bond investors to achieve savings, we don't contemplate actually entering the market until April 22nd and then closing the transaction on May 20th, just to remain within the federal guidelines that we have to follow. We anticipate that the savings would be approximately $482,000 for your taxpayers, and it meets all the financial thresholds that we look at just to make sure it's prudent refinancing for you to move forward. And this refinancing is just follows the strategic or strategy that the board has continued to have with respect to being good, prudent stewards of taxpayer monies. Since 2012, the board has refinanced or paid off bonds early and achieved taxpayer savings of a little over $8 million. So if we execute this other refinancing, we'll add another $500,000 to to this total, once we're completed with that. With respect to interest rates, we're kind of seeing in the news, it has been pretty volatile, there is a little bit of increase, and it just kind of depends on the day, but just want to put in perspective, this is a graph I showed you before, where if you look at it historically, and this is tracking interest rates from 1961, on the right side of where we're at right now, when you put in perspective, we're still in a pretty good situation. We anticipate coming in at 4% interest rate for the $60 million bond issuance. So we're still very happy and feel that the market is going to be very welcoming to East Central ISD bonds like it has in the past couple of years. The final page here, ladies and gentlemen, is just a summary of the legal action that you're taking with respect to the two bond issuances. Basically, what you're doing is you're allowing myself and the administration to continue moving forward with the offering documents so we can go into the market. Then you're going to delegate the authority to the superintendent or the CFO to sign the final interest rate documents so that we're not planning the bond sale around your next board meeting. This gives us a little bit of flexibility to go into the bond market when it best suits you, to when the market is good. And so basically, you're just delegating the final authority to sign the final documents to the superintendent or the CFO. This action that you're considering tonight has a shelf life of 12 months. And so if we're going to execute these financings within that period, we'd have to come back to you. We don't anticipate that happening, though. And so that's all of my presentation. I appreciate you listening to me and having me here. When I attend board meetings in January, it's pretty tough. I feel bad for my clients because typically they are looking at their audits and they always put the auditor first before me. I don't take it personally. It's okay. But then I have to talk about bonds, and that's not really exciting either. But no, y'all are in a great spot. I don't anticipate any issues going into the market, getting you a quality interest rate. I think will generate a tremendous amount of investors. And so just appreciate you all having me and letting me be part of the team and these transactions. And I'll have to answer any questions if you have any with respect to the financial aspect, and Lauren, if you're answering any questions.
I have a question for, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is there a graph that we can post online in this information as far as the savings that the community will get? Is there anything like that?
We could help with that. We could make it a little bit more reader friendly too.
Yeah.
I like numbers and
That-
stuff.
Yeah, like something reflecting that. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Work together, Victor and Marcom to make that happen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Victor.
Okay.
All right, trustees, I recommend board approval, the district's new money bond order as presented.
So I have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Do I have a second? So I have a motion from Mr. Mulkey and a second from Ms. Beaton. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? No? Okay, included in all that was 8.2, which was in order authorizing the issuance of one or more series of the district's unlimited tax refunding bonds in the maximum amount of $48 million, levying an ad valorem tax for the payment thereof, delegating the authority to the district staff to approve and execute related documents and other matters in connection therewith.
Yeah. So as Victor presented, this one would be for the refinancing opportunities. Again, the bond language says the maximum amount up to $48 million. As Victor indicated, a little over 13 million seem to be optimal in these market conditions, but it does give us the opportunity, depending on the market, to consider other callable bonds, but again, not to exceed the 40. There's no other question. Maybe.
Anybody have any questions?
Trustees, I recommend board approval of the district's refunding bond order as presented.
So we have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion from Ms. Friesenhan and a second from Mr. Santos. Everybody in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you again for having us.
Oh,
here.
thank
We'll,
you.
we'll get to work and look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
y'all soon.
Thank
That's
you.
good news. We'll come back
Always
here.
good to see you.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
last, I believe the last item on the, this section on the action agenda is 8.4, reorganization of the board officers. So do I have a motion?
8.3,
We had already moved 8.3 up to, so that Mr.
Audit.
Yes.
Yes, Madam President. I move to retain the current slate of officers, Monique Presses as president, Emilio Carrasco as vice president, and Del Brazil as secretary.
Madam President, I want a discussion on that motion. But we have a second, then we can discuss before we take a vote.
Second.
So I have a motion from Ms. Peterson, and a second from Mr. Santos, and do we have any discussion?
Yes. Reorganization of the board, I think that's a decision of the entire board. I wasn't made aware of this.
It happens every.
That it happens every year, I wasn't made aware that we're gonna stay with the same officer. I wasn't made aware of that. So we can open the floor for discussion, or we can table it until you share that information, share with all the trustees. I don't know who it was shared with, it wasn't shared with me.
So we can't really have a discussion, and share information on anything, but if you have something or somebody.
Well, I have a recommendation. I recommend that you put each office back on the floor. They voted back in, fine. But give everybody an opportunity to nominate someone else. You trustee, I don't know if you shared that with him, that you're gonna stay with the same officers, but let's put, I'll make a recommendation. I don't know if you want to go along with that, but, leaving the board like it was, this is an excellent opportunity to reorganize the board, give, other trustees the opportunity to be nominated. If the ones that are there are renominated and voted back in, I have no problem with that.
Do we want,
So I have to do this thing,
yeah,
and look at my cheat sheet.
so you can rescind the motion and make a motion to keep it one, individually, is that what you're wanting to do, Coach?
Yes.
Okay.
So I rescind my motion to keep the current slate of officers.
As it is one at a time, and now you're gonna, do I have a,
Right, so Madam President,
do this right?
I nominate Monique Presses for president.
Okay, so I have,
By show of hands, you take the vote. Asking for a show of hands.
We can do a roll
you can
call.
do a roll call.
Okay.
So I vote yes.
I'll vote yes.
Ms. Brazil? Yes.
Yes.
Bernie Presses, yes. So,
Madam President, I recommend Emilio Carrasco, I nominate Emilio Carrasco for vice president, and my vote is yes.
I would like to make a nomination too for, open the floor for another nomination. Can we do that?
So I think we have to go through the vote
Let's go
process
through the
for
vote.
him first. I don't know. So this is sad that I don't know this, because I didn't. But I think you have to go through one at a time,
Okay.
and if he doesn't get the votes, then you have to nominate.
You can't put two,
I don't believe so.
you don't think so.
We can, it's not convenient, but we can move to, postpone, definitely, or indefinitely. One is with a date and one is without a date, so we don't have to put it, a date on it, but we can move to have it on another agenda.
would you prefer that, he's not here, so. That, presents a little bit of a problem, he's just as in the dark as what you were saying, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Since he's absent from this meeting.
So I move, Madam President, move we postpone indefinitely this agenda item to next month's meeting.
Okay. So I have a motion from Ms. Friedenhan to postpone this agenda item until next month's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, I have a motion from Ms. Friedenhan, a second from Mr. Mulkey. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then the last part is the consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone wishes to have pulled from the consent agenda? All right. So there's nothing to be pulled from the consent agenda, then the last item is adjournment, item 10. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Roll call. I apologize. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.